See, I haven't got a computer, therefore I need a pencil.
No, you don't. You just tell me the two answers.
I know, but then when you're editing it, won't you need to know? What?
This is our 163rd show, and still Kay thinks that for you to see anything,
I have to hold it close.
We have to do this.
No. Whips.
It's whoosh, whoosh.
I did a whip noise.
Oh, it was brilliant.
Oh, a chariot. That's a snappy chariot or something.
Of 2020.
And I can use Reader.
Yes.
That's what they used to do. They don't have paper.
I was waiting for you to say, call me
sorry.
Fiona Bruce.
Oh, call me Fiona Bruce.
Fiona Bruce.
So you're looking now at that delicious looking drink.
I don't think it looks delicious.
You don't think it looks delicious?
I don't want to have it.
You don't want it?
No, they came in my tummy. Welcome, everybody, to the Bakery Bears video show featuring the exciting, and let me stress the word exciting, finale of this season's Knit or Forfeit. Oh yes.
What do you think?
It is the final of the champion of 2020. Who will win? Well, no, it's not who will win. Will Kay retain her gorgeous knitted bejeweled crown?
Yes.
Or will I
steal it
from her? All will be revealed later on in the show, and it's a particularly exciting round. Neil, I want to stress the word exciting today, and I'll tell you for why. Because
I've got lots of exciting things.
Absolutely you do. Absolutely you do. I mean, excitement runs from the start to the finish of today's show. You may well lead. You may well need a lie down part way through.
I think you might.
Yes, I know I will.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why it's exciting. I've only gone and cast on something new.
Wow, have you?
Yes. So you know what that means? I've only gone and cast something off.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh yes, you have. I had to think then, like, has he? And all of my projects are new.
Now that's even more exciting.
Because I seem to have finished lots of things over the past few weeks.
Yes.
And I realised this
a
week or so ago, and I'm like, oh my word, I've not really got that much on the needles. That's great. Let's start some stuff.
So we've already raised your heart rate just a little. I'm about to send it a little bit higher. Because you're not going to believe this. Kay said last time, the Dunbrock socks, they're available to buy.
They are.
They're out.
Pattern
My goodness.
is out.
What a wonderful launch you had, actually. Thank you all so much to everyone who's bought them.
It was fantastic. I put that pattern out last Friday.
Yes.
And the response was brilliant. So thank you all so much.
Cast-ons across the world.
Yes.
And they're
lovely socks. They are lovely socks. And I feel like I should knit another, a pair for Bryony maybe, because the size that I knit was the 72 stitch size. So maybe I should do the 64.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole, it's a very personal sort of story to us, the whole thing, and Kay details very much of it in the first page of the pattern, and it's just sort of lovely to think that Dunbrock and Scotland, and they're up in Scotland and they're walking around the streets of Edinburgh, going about their merry way,
keeping tootsies warm.
Yes, that's the only way to be. Oh yes, this time of year. What am I saying? This time of year. All year.
You wear them all year, your wool socks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Now, what a 2 weeks we've had. Because last time we saw you, we told you that the Dunbrock socks were going to be released at some point, and we've now confirmed they have. And the other thing that we told you was that we were going to give you a little sneaky peek at this year's Bakery Bears Advent Calendar. Now, some of you may already have caught this little sneaky peek because we've put it out on different places on Facebook and on our Patreon page, but here, for all of you, is 1 minute 15 seconds of the Bakery Bears Advent Calendar 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, who's ready to spend the next 24 days with us as we get ready for Christmas? In this year's Bakery Bears Advent Calendar, join us as we venture out in search of all the things that we know will make this year's Christmas extra special. From delicious Christmas cake to procuring the perfect bauble for our tree.
But that's only half of it, because how would you like to join me for a Christmas knit-along? Every other day of our calendar, you will join me in my Christmas grotto. And I'll be taking you through every stage of this year's mystery Christmas design.
So get ready for the best Christmas ever.
As together we enjoy the Bakery Bears Advent Calendar 2020.
Oh, yes! The excitement is building because you may have seen in that little sneaky peek, Kay's only gone and got our own Christmas set.
Oh, I have. Yes.
In fact, really, you could argue you have 2 Christmas sets.
2?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. The last 2 weeks we've been in, I'm a little bit...
Dan's just been editing.
And filming. And then more editing.
It is always our most intense time of year, isn't it? But it's been really fun as well. We've been so festive. We had Christmas music on every day, and we've been surrounded by decorations and tinsel, and it's just been lovely.
The Bakery Bears Advent Calendar this year is going to be phenomenal. And, as Kay said, it is by far... It's like a year's worth of work in a month. It
really is. It's really, really intense.
But it's a tradition that we started.
Yeah.
And it's just become part of who we are now.
Yeah.
And Christmas wouldn't be Christmas without it.
No, definitely.
And this year, like we've said a few times already, we're doing. You've done phenomenal work making this.
Well, so have you. It's not me.
But you've also, Kay's mystery knit along this year is just. It's so lovely.
It's really lovely. It is really lovely. And I took the photos the other day, and the photos just came out so lovely.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really pleased with it. So I hope you all enjoy it.
So you should be.
Yeah.
And the fun commences, as you saw in the little trailer bit there, on the 1st of December. It runs right the way through to the 24th. And it is, of course, available in full to our silver, gold and platinum patrons.
Yeah.
Now, here's a quick question. Has Strictly Come Dancing found its golden goose?
Well, it has, but it's only temporary.
It's temporaric.
Temporary. I can't say that word.
Oh, you did then.
It's only for the next 2 weeks, and did you see what happened? Anton is a guest judge.
We
for the
said
next 2 weeks.
When Len Goodman
last week and this week.
We said years ago he should be head judge.
We did. We absolutely did.
And in he comes.
And what do? They keep giving him dancers that they know full well are not going to last very long in the competition. And
I'm sure he probably
did quite
wants
well
to keep
last
dancing
year.
now. I bet you it's him.
Of course he wants to keep dancing. Why wouldn't he want to keep dancing?
The producers should have pulled him aside and gone, look, Anton, and we want you to become a judge.
He's still... Well, maybe so, maybe... Well, I don't know whether that happened. I think he would have been a judge 5 years ago.
He would.
Him.
I think this is just fate has led us to this point. They're like, what can we do? And they've gone, hold on a minute. Perfect, perfect answer. What needs to happen now, though, is the producers and the directors of that show need to go, hold on a minute, he's really good at this.
He's really good. He's brilliant.
Need to make him
It's
permanent.
like having Len back. It was just fantastic. And I haven't really watched it, I'll be honest. I've not really watched it this season. But when I saw that Anton was going to be a guest judge, me and Bryony did watch it, and I absolutely loved it. It's just what the show needs.
Yes. So we have to hope, ladies and gentlemen, that they realise.
Oh, please.
They found their golden goose and they appoint Anton Dubek to be a permanent judge.
Yes.
It would be perfect. And imagine if they also had in Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
That would be fantastic.
Alfonso Ribeiro.
What a lineup. That would just be brilliant.
Who has guest judged in the last couple of seasons. Probably won't, obviously, this year.
Fantastic.
But he's just brilliant as well. And my goodness, I could watch that man dance.
Oh, all day.
In fact, I think I should make it a new rule. Every morning, it's the first thing we do.
We watch him dance.
We watch him dance because he's tremendous.
Brilliant.
Look, that's enough waffle. Because as you know already, Kay has got 3 brand new projects to show you.
I do.
So I think it's about time I shut up and I said to Kay Jones, what's on your needles?
Well, the first thing is something that's actually almost finished, but you've never seen it. And the reason you've never seen it is because I cast this on. It was just a design idea that I had months ago, actually. And I've just been gradually working on it over the past few months, not in any sort of rush to get it done. And I'm at the point now where I'm getting quite close to finishing it, and I know from the way the design's gone and the idea that's in my head, I'm going to be releasing this on Valentine's Day. And it's a pair of socks, and I had this idea of a sort of like a pair of lace socks, but they were like sampler socks. So there's lots of different lace patterns within the socks. But not only that, both socks are different. So you're never going to get that second sock syndrome because you're not knitting the same thing twice. So even though they're different, I wanted them to look related. So what I did was I chose stitch patterns, and quite often with a lot of them I actually made up the stitch patterns entirely myself, but they look kind of related on the 2 socks. So it's got that sort of cohesive feeling, but each sock is different, so you're just not going to get bored. And they've just been an absolute joy to knit. You're literally never going to get bored because you do a little section and then you're like, oh, what's next? And then you get something new, and then you get something new. It's just been brilliant. So I'm almost done with the pair. So I'll show you the first sock first and then tell you what yarn I've used. So here's the first sock. This hasn't been blocked, so it'll look prettier when it's been blocked. But it's got 5 different stitch patterns. So we've got 2 on the leg and then 3 running down the foot. And there's actually only one size for this pattern as well. It's a 64 stitch pattern, and the reason really is because there's so many stitch patterns. It would be an absolutely enormous written pattern, because it's effectively I would have to write patterns for all 3 sock sizes. It would just make it really complicated because each stitch pattern would be slightly different for each size. It just would make it too complicated. So I thought, right, no, I'm just going to do 64 stitch size, because I know that is, from my experience with test knitters and things, that seems to be the size that I would say, I don't know if it's the majority, but a lot of knitters would knit a 64 stitch size. And if you did want to make it slightly bigger, slightly smaller, you could go up and down in needle size. You could use a slightly thicker yarn if you wanted it slightly bigger. You could use a sport weight maybe. There's lots of things you can do to alter the size. So yeah, we've got 2 different stitch patterns here on the leg, and then there's 3 on the foot. And you can actually use this sort of last stitch pattern to knit it any length you want. So to accommodate longer or shorter feet, obviously, and that's not a problem. And I've got some favourites. This is one of my favourites, and this will appear in another project that I'll show you later. But I just love them. Don't they look fun? And they kind of remind me of, you see like sampler shawls, don't you, and sampler scarves and blankets and things like that. So I thought, well, why not do some sampler socks? So that's the first one. And the yarn I used, I just wanted a plain yarn because there's so much going on with the stitch patterns, I should say, that I thought it's really just got to be like a plain yarn. So I pulled out some Cascade Heritage, and the main colour, I love this colour. It's like milk chocolate, and it's called Camel. And then the cuffs, heels and toes are Strawberry Cream. And I think they just look gorgeous together. It kind of reminds me of strawberry cheesecake a little bit, or strawberry chocolate, or it's just such a lovely combination, I think. so that was the first one.
Aren't you releasing these in a strange way as well?
Yes, I will tell you. I'll show you the second one and then I'll tell you how I'm going to release these.
And I think, didn't all this stem from you wanting to try and keep the excitement of the sort of advent calendar type stuff?
Yes.
But into the year a bit?
Yeah, into the new year.
Just because this year's been so great, we thought that it would be really nice to start next year with lots of greatness.
Yeah, that is true, and I'll tell you about that in a sec. So this is where I'm up to on the second one. So you can see they're kind of similar. If I show you this one, can you see they are similar in look, but the stitch patterns are all different. So to me they do look, they look so lovely together, don't they? I'm so pleased. And I love this one. On this sock, I love this. Oh, I love that. And I love this wavy one here. Can you see the wavy one? Love that. And at the moment, I'm just doing some cute little eyelets there. But yeah, what I'm going to do with these, I will release these as a paid for pattern on Valentine's Day next year. But what I'm going to do, sort of like the run up to Valentine's Day, I'm going to be within our Bakery Bears Facebook group. I'm going to release a little section of these socks each day running up to Valentine's Day, so that our patrons can knit along these, with these socks, and they'll get the pattern for free effectively. And then on Valentine's Day they'll have a completed pair of socks if you've followed along each day. But if you wanted to, you can then go and purchase the full pattern, if you wanted to have it after that. And then obviously anyone can purchase the full pattern.
Cool.
I just thought that'd be really fun, and it's something to look forward to for the new year, because I don't know about anyone else, but January and February, I really struggle with January and February. I just find them like, they just seem to go on forever, and it's still dark nights, and it's usually the worst weather as well, isn't it? And certainly in this country it tends to be.
Yeah.
So I just thought that would be something really nice to do, if you're a part of the Facebook group and want to do that. But yeah, these ones will be released Valentine's Day, and I've got a name for them, but I'll just keep that under my hat at the moment. I love those yarns, aren't they pretty?
Yeah.
And this just shows you, doesn't it, sometimes I say plain yarn, you know what I mean by that, don't you? Like a solid coloured yarn is really what a pattern calls out for.
Yeah.
And, there's so many choices with Cascade Heritage as well with regards to colours, that you're bound to find a colour that you like. Those are my lovely sampler socks, and I'm almost done with that one. I'm going to get them finished. I'm going to write up the pattern. I'll ask someone if they will do me a test knit, and then those ones will be ready to go out in February.
Cool.
Dan Jones.
Yes.
What's on your needles?
It's more of my Village Fate socks. This actually has been a perfect pattern for me for keeping me interested. I mean, it really has. At no point, I'm really into the whole pattern on one needles and then something different on the others. I obviously knit with DPN, so it's my needles 1 and 2 have got like main pattern going on, and then needles 3 and 4, either you've got something different when you're doing the leg, or it's plain going down the foot. And I don't get bored going down the foot at all. I've learned now knitting a few patterns this way that it absolutely works for me. It really does, and it's lovely to find that sort of recipe which works, because I do really, really appreciate the skills involved with knitting socks. And it took me a long time to get to that point, but I think as knitters we're always going to need to have good sort of dexterity and ability, to do all the things that we need to do to knit. And to be honest, I've not found anything quite so good for working me out as knitting socks. Me exercising my hands, keeping me nimble. Yeah. I regularly make mistakes which need fixing, so I do lots of tinking back, which is really good. Learn lots, because on the other thing which I've cast on, which I'll show you later, I had done a central double decrease before.
Oh yeah.
But I think I've probably done it once, and I think it might have been on the spear grass.
Right, yes, that sounds right.
And that was a long time ago. And it's things like that that I just think is important. Because it may be that you only need to do it every so often, or it may be that you don't really ever do it. But the thing is, though, by learning how to do it and by being able to do it, by being able to do it without dropping your stitch, which is what I was doing initially, learning the skills which you need, it just makes me better at knitting in general. And I enjoy that then, because then when I come to knit the stuff which really is my thing, which is the garments and the colour work and all of that, I feel like nimble and yes, off we go.
It is quite a tricky little stitch that it can be, a central double decrease.
Yeah.
Especially if your needles aren't very pointy, I would say.
Or if they're really slippy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I have to knit with slippy needles because my tension's quite...
Yeah, because you slip in 2 stitches together and then you've got to pass those 2 stitches over there.
Yeah.
So it is, you've got to be careful.
I think my favourite thing about this pattern is I just love the lace on the front. I think
it's pretty, isn't it?
It's really gorgeous. And
these are the Village Fate socks.
What I like the most about
it is a really pretty lace.
What I like the most about them is the fact that it is a 4-round repeat.
Yeah.
And that 2 round repeats are a bit too simple.
Yeah.
4 round repeats are right on the money.
They're my favourite too. Just for me, it just makes the sock fly.
1.5 socks through, and I can't remember the repeat, and that's really good. I don't want to remember the repeat.
Can you not?
No. I'll be close to remembering the repeat, but I wouldn't want to dare to.
But that's brilliant if you can't, because I was worried they'd be a bit too simple for you, these, because you do like things to be a bit involved, but you said not, so that's great.
It's tricky with socks because they need to be involved enough, but they don't need to be so involved that it makes it impossible for me to do, because there's so many elements to a sock which you've got to perfect. And my pickups on these socks
really good,
are absolutely tremendous.
Showed me the other night. It's like, look at my pickups. They're excellent, darling.
I'm obviously using Kays 2-stitch pickup technique, and for me it's tremendously rewarding because I obviously knit quite a few pairs of socks.
That's probably a ticket we were looking for last time.
I'm just trying to throw you off.
Right. So wherever my bin is, that's going in it.
There's certain areas on everything I think that we knit. On garments it's probably underarms. Certain areas which are the spots which can separate the men from the boys when it comes to producing a really perfect looking thing.
Oh, I know what it is with garments for me.
What is it?
It's attaching the sleeves when it's bottom up. That first round where you attach the sleeves, it's mental, because you're attaching something that's in the round and making it flat effectively, aren't you? I just don't enjoy that at all.
So the yarn is Osterman's Step.
Osterman's Steps is gorgeous purple.
Yes, it's great fun to knit with. I'd strongly recommend it.
It's really nice.
It really is nice, yeah. It's a lovely yarn in the hand, and it doesn't feel remotely sort of prickly, and it just is great to work with, so highly recommend it. And
the yarn that you've used for the toe, I love this colour. It's one of my favourites. It's one of the Regia, my first Regia, and it's 01886. I don't even know if you can get this yarn anymore, my first Regia, I'm not sure, but it's this gorgeous sort of violet colour. It's such a pretty colour. I'm going to have this leftovers for one of my blankets when you've finished.
Yeah, and hopefully I'll remember to change yarns on the toe.
On the toe, you've got to remember to put it on the toe, because I think it really lifts the sock.
Yes.
It's kind of fun. You don't normally see socks with a contrast toe, do you?
I did intend to do the heel as well, but unfortunately I forgot.
Well. Never mind.
Yes.
Worse things have happened.
Yes. That's enough of my socks. I think it's time that we found out, Kay Jones, what else is on your needles.
Oh, this is really fun. Dan loves this project. Now, I decided to make these as a little surprise Christmas present for Bryony to pop into her stocking. And it's a yarn that I purchased recently. I showed it to you last time, actually. So the yarn I'm using for this is from Dragon Hill Studio. It's a UK dyer, and it's on the sparkle sock, and the colourway is Twinkling Lights. It's a self-striping yarn, and I think this might be all sold out now. I know that they did several updates, because I kept seeing it on Instagram that they'd done another and then done another because the demand had been so high for it. But I think they might have just done the last update. So I'm sure a lot of you out there will have got some of it. It's just lovely. And this is the yarn. I did rewind it. I think I mentioned last time that I thought the cake was a bit tight. So I did rewind it. So these are the colours. It's so lovely. And I'm making a pair of fingerless mitts for Bryony, because she loves fingerless mitts, and she's got 2 pairs, I think 3 pairs maybe, that I've knit her, and she wears a pair every day for school. Once the weather starts to turn a little bit cool, and to be fair, she tends to wear them even when it's a bit warm, because she just loves them. So I thought, I'll make a pair of fingerless mitts with that yarn, and that'll just be so nice. So I've almost got one finished. I've just got the thumb to do. So I'll pop that onto my hand so you can see it. And I'm on the second one at the minute. Let's just pull that down a bit. They're so festive and lovely. Look at those. Are they not the funniest mitts you've ever seen? So it does this amazing stripe where you've got red, green, red, and then you've also got gold, silver, gold. But then you've got these sort of twinkling lights in between, like fairy lights, like coloured fairy lights. Isn't it fun? And I've got the second one cast on. I'm just on the rib. And it's just zooming along, really. It's such a lovely, quick project. And for me, it's kind of like socks. You know, there's less stitches. There's 56 stitches, so that's great. I'm using a 2.5mm needle because I just find that's, for me, it works really well with the 56 stitches as being a great size, you know, on your hand. And these fit me, they fit Bryony, and I think they would fit somebody with slightly smaller and slightly bigger hand. I would say the range is probably from like a youngish child, maybe 9, 10, up to adult size. You know, if you've got really large hands, then you'd probably have to do a few more stitches. But I think they will accommodate quite a good range of hand sizes. And isn't it lovely? And this has not even been blocked yet. I think it looks just great. I was a bit bothered that when I was doing the thumb gusset it would interrupt the stripes quite a lot, but actually, you know, that one is a bit thinner, isn't it, on the thumb gusset, but it's really not bad at all. It's just so lovely. Ooh, and I've been keeping these secret. Bryony hasn't seen me knitting these. I've just been doing them sort of for bedtime knitting, perfect bedtime knitting. Except I kept falling asleep when I was on the thumb gusset, and I missed one of the increases because I think I was literally knitting asleep. Does anybody else do that? You know, you kind of nod off and then you sort of still knitting a bit, and I just forgot one of the increases, so I had to tink back and do that, but that was fine. So I'm going to knit the other one and then I'll do the 2 thumbs because I want the colour to sort of carry on. So I'll see where I'm at with the ball and just find the right spot just to sort of carry on with the thumb. Hopefully I won't have to wind off too much yarn. But if whatever I wind off I'm going to keep just in case I need that for a future project. Because you love this yarn, don't you? Mm. And if I've got enough left over, I think these will probably use up at the most 40 grams, but I suspect it might be a little bit less than that. So I should have at least 60 grams left. So I think if I did contrast cuffs, heels and toes for Dan, I think I could just squeak out a shorty pair of socks for him. So I think that's what I'm going to do, because I would like to use the whole skein because it's just so pretty and it's got gold sparkle in it. It's just really lovely yarn and such a great dye job. For me it looks like a really complicated dye job, you know, for self-striping, and they just look so festive and so sort of like vintagey festive with the coloured lights, and I love them. So hopefully I'll have those finished for next time, but as long as I have them done
for the time after.
Yeah, for the time after, then that's fine, because they don't need to be finished until really well into December, because they're just going in a Christmas stocking. So,
and they are being interviewed. I think it's a husband and wife team.
I think it is the lady called Sharon. Have I got that right?
Yes,
yeah.
That's right. I couldn't see anywhere that it specified their husband and wife, so I don't know.
But they're partners. Well, we don't know.
We don't know.
We're making assumptions, aren't we?
All I know
You'll have to ask them.
is a lady and a man. Well, we've just interviewed them for our next issue of Knitability.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's a bit English, but I felt that I couldn't say. So, well, I couldn't say because you're interviewing them as guys. You can't say,
are you married?
Are you married? So look, there's a husband. No, look, I've done it again.
You did it again.
There's a man and a woman who both work for Dragon Hill Studios, and they are both being interviewed in our Christmas special edition.
Oh, and I could take a picture of the mitts and put it in there.
Absolutely,
it's their yarn.
Absolutely, and the reason why we just had to interview them in our Christmas special was because of this amazing Christmas yarn.
It's fantastic.
It is, and really, I know through talking to Sharon that particular colourway was tremendously popular. Now, just a little tip: don't miss the Endy Bits.
Yes, I've got something super exciting to tell you about.
I told you the excitement ran from the start to the end of today's show.
Yes, it really does. So definitely don't miss Endy Bits.
Now then, told you at the start, cast on a new pattern. And this is it. Now, first of all, I want to show you the yarn, because the yarn's just lovely. Now, this is, of course, the yarn which Kay dyed up. It's the second skein, because she dyed up 2, and this was for the Dunbrock. She didn't use this, and so she very kindly gave this to me when I said that I wanted to knit the fairy wings.
Oh,
and it's funny that I asked to do the fairy wings because the fairy wings goes against that recipe which I just told you about, which is something interesting on the front too and something maybe slightly less interesting on the back too. This is the same all the way around. I've done one sort of, you can't see a massive amount of it.
Shall I hold it up?
But there's one...
Oh, you can zoom, can't you? Just realised this yarn matches this bag perfectly. Look.
Yes, I like to do that.
You didn't do that on purpose.
No, but you've now introduced something which I may now wish to do in future.
Oh, lots of people do that. That's not a new
in that case,
concept.
I guess I'm not interested.
You're not going to do it then?
It's a bit like the contrast heels and toes. When I realised that I hadn't invented that, I wasn't interested anymore. Of course. This is a lovely bag, actually. It's extremely autumnal. I mean, it couldn't be more autumnal. Yeah, I made that
years ago for you, didn't I? I think that was a birthday present.
Yes. The colours are tremendous, and inside too, it sort of makes you think of fruit.
Yeah.
And as much as when you look closely, it looks like a whole range of different types of fruits. When I look at it, I see apples and pears.
Yeah.
Yes, and I don't mean stairs. We were talking about Cockney rhyming slang the other day. It's interesting. Our daughter Bryony was asking us about it, possibly.
I think, she said something, didn't she? Which was part of... She'd shortened something. I forget what it was now.
And she didn't realise what it was. She didn't realise that this was a whole thing.
Yeah.
And that all these things... I wonder if there's any other things around the world where this happens. So, Cockney rhyming slang. So Cockneys are traditionally from London, and instead of instead of saying stairs, they would say apples.
Yeah, because it's apples and pears, stairs.
Yes. And instead of saying feet, they would say plates.
Plates of meat.
Yes.
Feet. Yeah.
And the list goes on. There's a whole language. You could actually listen to them talking and not have a clue what it was that they're talking about. And I just wondered if there's anywhere else in the world where things like this happen. It'd be cool to know.
Yeah.
So, fairy wings.
Yeah.
Gorgeous yarn. And this is the pattern which has the central double decrease in it.
It does.
And the first time I did it, so that the whole thing with the central double decrease is you have to, now don't tell me, you have to slip 2 stitches together knitwise.
Yeah.
And then you knit a stitch.
Yeah.
And then you have to pass the 2 stitches over the knit stitch.
Yes.
Together.
Yes.
And you've slipped them knitwise, so they're quite tight.
Yes.
And the issue I had was getting the slipped stitches over the top of the knitted stitch.
Without dropping the knitted stitch.
The problem I had was the first time I did it, but it dropped.
You dropped the knitted stitch.
Yes. So Kate had to fix it for me.
Yeah.
But then the second time I did it,
Was it all right?
I don't mean the second time I did the central double decrease.
Right.
I mean the second time I dropped it.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Did you drop it
I was
again?
able to fix it myself.
I was going to say, you didn't ask me. Oh.
No.
Did you do the same thing again?
No, it was a variation. It was a variation because I could actually see where things were.
Right.
Before. I mean, you see, what I think happened was I try and watch Kay really closely when she's fixing stuff. For example, I had a stitch drop on the pattern I just showed you a minute ago on the Village Fate.
Right.
And it laddered down. And we hadn't realised it had laddered down. But what you did was, which was really cool, and I probably would struggle to remember again now, but the next time it happens, you must just do again. What I did was, Kate just painted her nails. And she couldn't fix it for me. But I'm actually really glad she couldn't fix it for me because I wanted to know how to do it because I don't know how to rework a stitch that's dropped. So I asked you and you told me what to do and I did it. And I did it and I did it. But the problem was...
it had laddered down
needed to be done twice.
It had laddered down two stitches and what he'd done is he'd caught both of those laddered stitches with one and I was like, this is not right. So... I waited for my nails to dry and then I fixed it.
Yes.
Fixed it for you.
But it was brilliant because I learned that I've taken my first tentative step into knowing how to rework a stitch.
Yeah, you learn from your mistakes, don't you? Really, it's the best way to learn.
It is, but why is it the first time I've ever done that? I know you've always done things like that for me before.
I don't remember you really laddering down.
I haven't done that a lot.
No.
Which is really good, I suppose.
Yeah.
I've not seen a lot on... I think because there's so many different ways for things to go wrong, it's hard to find things on the internet.
I don't think I've done a tutorial on that,
No, you haven't.
Oh, I must do that then.
Yes.
Yeah. Because you can use a crochet hook.
I'll just deliberately drop a stitch.
I'll do a swatch and then drop a stitch. No, you can use a crochet hook and that makes it really easy. Just a small crochet hook.
Right.
But if you've not got a crochet hook, you can just do it with your knitting needle as well.
Right.
So I'll maybe do that.
Well, I know I'd find that useful.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Thank goodness. You're waiting for...
He's always nervous when I start looking at things.
Well,
but no, it looks really nice.
I'd rather strive for greatness than...
And you're using 2.75 still, aren't you, millimetre with the... it's fine. I do think your gauge has loosened up. But don't worry about it for this sock. But the other reason is that, you've got huge hands and it might be that going down to 2.5 millimetres, you might find that a bit...
I've got no issue in changing needle size. I don't mind.
Oh, right, okay.
We'll
try with your next pair.
If you think I need to go...
You do need to go down, yeah, you do.
Right.
So, but it's fine for that pair. We'll do it with your next.
Cool. So, started off on the fairy wings. It's going to be interesting to see how we go. I won't be doing contrast heels and toes, will I?
No, I don't think so. I don't know if there is.
If you were going to contrast heel and toe with...
Is there a contrast...
I don't think there is, but I just wonder what colour...
No, I don't.
What colour would you do if you were going to contrast?
Pink would look lovely, wouldn't it? Yellow or orange would look nice because there's tones of that in there.
Cool.
Or you could go something completely... green would also look nice. It's all the autumnal colours together, isn't it? Like a sort of limey...
Brown.
Like a dirty green. Yeah, dark brown would look good.
Yeah. Cool. It's a fun thing, isn't it? It's a fun thing, but I honestly haven't got a clue.
With colours?
No.
Well, I think if you thought about it, you would think what colour would go with that.
It's experience, isn't it?
If you just look at that project bag,
yeah,
because you've got those sorts of colours in there. So you can see there's yellows, there's greens, there's browns and oranges, and they all go together, don't they? Because they're all that kind of autumnal look. So anything in those ranges, a peachy colour would also look great.
That owl makes me think of Bagpuss.
Oh yeah, was there an owl in Bag?
Yeah, clock.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't he? You wound him up.
Yeah, Professor Yaffle.
Yes.
It came back to me.
She got there in the end. What else have you got to show us?
Oh well, I've got.
That's a weird top on a bag.
Oh, now this is a bag I made years ago, and I really like it, and I'll tell you for why.
It lets the yarn out.
Yes.
Oh, it's genius.
Well, it stops something happening that really bugs me, and that's why I chose this bag. So it's a project bag with poppers at the top. instead of zip or instead of drawstring. And the advantage of having poppers is that you can have your yarn coming out there. You can do up those two poppers, so your yarn is pulling out here, but the whole ball can't come flying out of your bag.
It's really clever.
It happens to me all the time, and especially, you know, first thing in the morning when I'm knitting, and the ball will roll under the back of my chair, and I'm like, ah. So that totally stops it.
Yeah.
So I think these are great, and they work really well. You know, if you do all of the poppers up, nothing falls out, I don't find.
I've not seen
really
many bags that look...
No, I
mean, I'm sure
either.
there must be out there, but...
They're really easy to make as well, because you've not got the faff of a zip or a drawstring. You know, you're just really making a little sort of bucket, aren't you, if you think about it? And then just attaching poppers, which are dead easy to put on. And you can colour coordinate the poppers to whatever fabrics. I mean, that's always fun. So these work really well. So if you fancy making yourself a bag and you've got some poppers, then I'd say give this a go, because it's working really well for this. So what I'm knitting is another sock, and
you've matched the yarn to your bag.
Kind of. Yeah, I can, because it's pink inside.
And there's yellow on
It's got yellow. It's got yellow poppers. And my sock is yellow and pink. I'd had an urge to knit a yellow sock for a while.
That's a lovely pink.
But I'd got this skein of yarn in my stash that I bought a few months ago from Sherry Iris, and it had just been staring at me. It's been up there for ages, and I'm like, oh, I really want to use that. And then as I was knitting that sampler sock, one of the stitch patterns that I showed you, I just absolutely loved, and I thought I'm going to do a whole sock just in that stitch pattern. And I thought that yellow yarn will be perfect. So this is the colour. Oh, I love it. It's just like a tonal yellow.
And what base is that?
It's just 75-25.
Right.
So kind of sort of standard sock. And then as a contrast for the heel and the toe, this is also from Sherry. I looked through all of my 20 gram minis that I've got of Sherry's, and I was going to use...
And there's many of them, aren't there?
There's many.
Yes.
I was going to use a creamy sort of colour at first, but then I thought, no, it needs to be a bit more of a contrast. Then I saw a really lovely green and a blue, and I thought they would look nice, but then I saw this pink and put them together, and I thought, oh, that's so nice. And you know what I'm like with pink. You know, if there's an opportunity to use pink, then I will. So this is just one of her 20 gram minis from the Wildflower mini skein sets that she did last year. I don't know which set it's from, but it's one of those. And I've started a sock, and I don't think I've ever been at this point when I've shown you a sock before, so that's interesting.
It's a lovely stitch pattern.
Yeah, it's really nice, and I love this yarn. So it's this stitch pattern that I showed you. It's just this sweet little lace, and it's a 4-row repeat, and it just flies. I don't know what it is about 4 rows, but it's just enough for my brain not to think, oh, I've got, you know, another 5 rows till I finish the end of this repeat, because before you know it, you've done another repeat and you've done another repeat. It's so quick.
I think knitting is potentially all about fooling your brain, because I don't mean your brain,
no,
I mean all our brains, because if I have to stop thinking about the repeat, I then start thinking about how long I need to knit the leg for. Yeah. And as soon as I start thinking how long I need to knit the leg for, it starts to drag, because you start thinking...
that's
so
right.
Actually, if you're knitting stuff and it's dragging, it's probably because it's not quite engaging enough.
But, you know, although this is a really, you know, it's a really simple pattern, it just looks so pretty, doesn't it? So I've just finished the turns, and I'm ready to start picking up, which is my favourite bit of a sock. I love picking up for the gussets and then joining it all in the round and making those corners really neat. And I literally cast this on, I don't know, not yesterday, but maybe the day before yesterday. Really, you know, not that long ago. So I'm just getting rid of my hair. And I just love it. And this yarn is gorgeous. Isn't it bright and happy and fun? So I'm just going to carry on and finish these, and I don't know whether I'll release them as a pattern. I've not, you know, I don't. I'm just knitting them because I wanted to knit them, which is what we should be doing, isn't it? Let's be fair. You know, if you want to knit something, you should just go and knit it.
I love how that heel looks.
It's a square. I did a square turn for this one.
No. It's this.
It's because it's a tonal yarn. It looks really nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it just looks. It's so defined.
It's just.
Is it the twist on the? What is it that makes it look so defined?
I don't know. I mean, this sock base, I really like it for socks. I know that it is designed for that, but the 75-25, you know, the sort of.
Your whales are extremely well defined.
Yes.
And I like the tone elements to your courses.
Wow, listen to you. It's amazing, isn't it? But I just find this base, it just works brilliantly well for socks. You know, that's what it's designed for, isn't it? And because I think it's a 4-plied yarn, so it's nice and round, it's nice and smooth, so the stitches just look really lovely, whether you're doing lace or cables or, you know, whatever. You know, I do like the 2-plied sock yarns, but I do find that the stitches that you get with those are not quite as crisp as when you use a 4-plied yarn.
I was just looking at that and just thinking that if you scaled that up to human size...
Oh, you can put it on your head.
It'd be a marvellous hat. It'd be particularly good for nativity plays.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because all you would need to apply is just one of those things around the top.
Yeah,
and then
a rope.
You'd look like Mary or Joseph.
You would.
Yes, it's lovely.
Yes, you should do that.
I do have a vague memory of my nativity play.
I don't. I remember Bryony's, but I don't remember mine at all.
I played a Roman soldier.
Oh, right. Oh, you've told me about this before, I think.
Yes, and I had to... I mean, it's quite cool, but we had to make helmets for ourselves.
Oh, right.
And I made a papier-mâché, me and my friend Simon Brown.
Oh, yeah, I know Simon. You've mentioned me all the time.
And we made papier-mâché helmets for ourselves. And I just remember... the teacher marvelling at the amount of paper I needed to make a helmet to fit me. And there probably began the issues I had with my head size. You don't do that, do you, teacher? My goodness, Dan.
My goodness, that's
You need
big.
a lot of paper for your helmet. I never realised. I'm sure as well, I think we blew up balloons.
Yeah, that's what you used to do.
So we had to find...
So you had to blow up a really big balloon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then cover it with...
Yeah, it's very Blue Peter, that, isn't it? Makes me think of Blue Peter.
I can remember being stood in the sort of outfit. It was a proper... I mean, it felt like a Hessian sack.
Hessian.
What is that?
You said Hessian.
Hessian. Sorry.
Yeah, it's like microwave.
Yes, that was downstairs in the kitchen. What's wrong with the microwave?
Microwave. Me and Brian are always like, Dad, are you going to put that in the microwave?
I went out yesterday and bought some silver foil.
Oh, how funny is this? He's always saying, oh, we need silver foil. And I'm like, oh, it's just foil. Why do you call it silver foil? It's not like it's any other colour. And I wound you up the other day because you went, oh, shopping list, I'll write silver foil on it. And I turned around and I said, honey, can we have gold foil this time? I just fancy a change.
I thought she was being serious.
And I did it deadpan, which is not like me.
And I stood there for a minute
he went,
I've not seen gold foil in the shops.
You get gold foil. I couldn't hold it any longer. It's just foil. It's kitchen foil. It's just foil. But I'd be thrilled to be proven wrong.
I think it's my mum's fault.
Maybe it's your mum who says silver.
I will have picked it up from my mum.
Yeah, that's why you say christening instead of christening.
But to be fair, my mum says garage.
Garage, she does, and you don't say garage.
That's bordering on royalty, isn't it?
Yeah.
Put the car in the garage.
Yes.
What did Lady Mary say the other day about his car? It was brilliant.
Oh, a chariot. That's a snappy chariot or something.
Yes. Oh, come on.
My goodness, what a snappy chariot.
And I said to Kate, why don't you talk to me like that? It'd be marvellous. Those were the days.
They were.
Oh, the 1920s.
I know.
They were just marvellous.
Because the fashions were gorgeous, weren't they, as well, for the women? Oh, my word, all those beaded dresses and, just lovely. I didn't tell you what the colourway was for that yellow, and it's mellow yellow. Lovely. So, Sherry, I love it. Perfect for this project.
Right. Folks, this is it. In our last round of Knit or Forfeit, Kays scored a rather impressive but achievable 10. So the question is this: will I score enough to beat her, or will I lose miserably? It's time for the talking to finish and for the action to begin as we head back to find out who will be the champion of 2020 in Knit or Forfeit. It's 10 questions, 6 about knitting and 4 about Christmas.
Turkey or D, Ukraine?
Oh no. But we have 3 lifelines. Pushing the button again.
Oh my goodness.
The winner will be crowned champion of 2020 and they'll receive this jewel encrusted crown.
Yes, he is.
Yes! Sorry. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to Knit or Forfeit. As fast as this season has begun, it's drawing to a close because today we're going to find out who is going to be the champion of 2020. Now, in our first round of Knit or Forfeit, the current champion, Kay, she answered 10 questions and she did rather well. She scored 10. Now, how did she do that? Well, in Knit or Forfeit, we have 10 multiple choice questions, 6 about knitting and 4 about Christmas. And for every question that we answer right, we get 1 point. But I'm sure you remember, if we go for it without hearing the answer without hearing the multiple choice answers, we get 2 points. Now, that's not it, of course, in Knit or Forfeit, because along the way, we have 3 lifelines. There's 50-50, there's Text a Friend, and there's Ask the Audience. And these are quite important because in the event of a tie, the person who has used the least amount of lifelines will be the winner. Now, how many did Kay use in her first round? She used 2, so she did pretty well. So today, the plucky challenger has entered the ring, and it's time for him to grasp the crown and place it upon his rather ample head. And speaking of the crown, here she is. It's the current champion, the champion of 2019. Yes, it's Kay. What's wrong?
I am a bit perturbed you were calling me he.
Here she is.
No, but before that you were referring to the winner as he.
Oh, sorry, that's because I'm just...
That's very presumptuous, isn't it, really, I think.
That's shocking. It's shocking. Now, today is a gala event. So I expect you all to go off, pause the show, go and put on your best glad rags.
And I'm wearing my crown today rather like a headband. I've got a high ponytail, I've gone 80s. I'm reading a book that's very 80s at the moment and I'm just feeling the vibe.
This is my precious, and I'm not referring to Kay.
I'm going to say, it
I've
doesn't
gone like
mean
Gollum
me.
in Lord of the Rings.
He's not getting it.
Look at it.
He's
Ooh.
not getting my jewel-encrusted crown.
Now, speaking of glad rags, last time, of course, I pulled out the old favourite, the old faithful, the Lycra dinner jacket, which forgives many sins because it stretches in all the areas that you need it to stretch. Today, though, I've pulled out the latest dinner jacket, which is, I suppose, about
beautiful.
5 or 6 years old.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
It is. It's lovely.
It's in a whole other realm to the previous one.
This one is a beautifully tailored
It is. It's
jacket.
gorgeous. You could absolutely go to a dinner with Lord Grantham.
Yes.
Wearing that.
Yes, I could.
Although the Dowager would think that you were in what did she call it, a romper suit?
Yeah, your romper suit.
Because she didn't have we wouldn't have tails on. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Those were.
Get the tails out.
Absolutely.
Now,
Yeah.
Champion, do you have your questions all ready?
I do. They're hidden underneath here.
Now, of course, if you remember with Knit or Forfeit, we know when the competition begins because we hear a sound like this. And we know when the competition ends because we hear a sound like this. So I think I understand the rules. And if you're ready to go...
I'm ready to go.
Then I think it's time that we found out who is going to be the champion of 2020. So, folks, I think it's time that we got on with question number 1.
Question 1. Are you sitting comfortably?
Oh, now, before you go for it with question number 1, I would like to apologise to all the viewers at home for it was only one, I think, of the cards below with the questions.
It went all fuzzy.
Basically, what happened was, because I check everything twice. I'm like Santa. I check everything twice. But when I went to process the round, when it came out, it had pushed everything down. So I've analysed what the problem was.
It looked like you were a bit drunk. Like you were sort of...
Yes, there was nothing wrong. You'd all been drinking wine.
Yeah.
No, apologies for that last time. It will be fixed this time, he says.
He says.
Hey, look.
Christmas mugs are out.
Getting close to Christmas.
These ones are excellent.
They are indeed.
They're from Spode.
I thought it was pronounced Spoddy.
No, it's
Right.
Spode, and I think it's called Christmas Tree. It's a whole range. I mean, a lot of you probably know it. And I found these last year, so I bought us both one. We absolutely love them. They're fantastic mugs.
Beautiful.
Nice and big, great big handle.
Yes.
Love them.
I'm ready.
Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
Question 1. What are you doing?
That's my ready face. Oh, sorry.
It looked like something else. But... What is whip stitch used for in knitting? Does it sound familiar?
Yes.
It sounds familiar.
Oh, yes.
Okay. Can you
I
answer?
think I might know.
Oh, can you answer the question without the questions?
No.
Without the answers?
No, I can't answer the question without questions. That would be marvellous.
Oh, I need to cut my French.
I'm like a sage.
A sage.
Yes, I can look forward in time.
Do you like sage? Sage and
Hey, I do.
Sage and onion.
Yes.
Sage and do you know, well, any time. You've got to have sage and onion stuffing.
Yes.
For me, there's no other stuffing, really.
At Christmas, I like a range of stuffings.
You do like a range of
All
stuffings.
year, I like sage and onion stuffing.
Yeah, I just like sage and onion. And I don't really like the meaty stuffings.
I do like the meaty stuffings.
You do. And again, we do
And it's for that reason that I think I would enjoy meatloaf.
Yeah, I've never made meatloaf. Somebody tell me a good meatloaf recipe and I'll give it a go.
There will be many.
Is it...
Many family recipes.
I think it must kind of be crossed between like a burger and...
I think it's a lot nicer and flavoursome.
Yeah, I quite fancy having a go because I think Bryony would like it.
Yeah, I think that there's more flavours going in and it's less reliant on the meat flavour.
And what do you eat it with? Do you have it with like...
Mashed potato. And vegetables and gravy.
I'm going to give it a go. Give me a recipe, someone.
Yes.
Okay, so what is whip stitch used for in knitting?
Well, look, shall we have some fun? Because I could say what I think it is without giving an answer.
Okay.
And then we could have the answers come in. No, I can't. So this is not... I am not giving an answer because I'm not at the point of wanting to just go for it.
Okay.
So I'm going to hear the answers, so do not lock this in, okay?
Right.
I think it might be for joining knitting together.
Okay.
Okay. So
you want to hear the answers?
I do.
Okay.
Hopefully I now don't look stupid.
Is it...
Yes.
A... joining an edge to a section of a knitted garment?
Okay.
Is it B, hiding flaws in your knitting? Is it C, sewing whips? Or is it D, adding designs to the surface of knitting?
I thought adding designs to the surface of your knitting was called something else.
Okay.
I thought it was called duplicate stitch.
That's a very good knowledge.
ABC. Easy as 1, 2, 3.
I was thinking of the band. Wasn't it Martin
Yeah,
Fry?
The Look of Love.
Oh, brilliant.
The Lexicon of Love. That was the album.
Oh.
Yes.
Isn't it back in the 80s?
Oh, that was a good album. Well produced.
I feel like I should have candy floss lipstick on. Does anybody remember that?
I think I'd.
Back in the 80s. Do you remember candy floss lipstick? And it was like a pale pink, wasn't it? And I used to buy it from Sheffield Indoor Market.
Classy.
Blue mascara, candy floss lipstick.
And what type of skirt? Was it a rah-rah skirt? Yes. Oh, yes. I'm going A.
A.
Yes, I'm going to lock it in.
Locked in.
Yes.
Is he right? Yes, he is.
Yes! Sorry.
Well done.
Thank goodness.
Whip stitch that together.
You start to, as
Although I use mattress stitch. Most of the time.
which is why it threw me a tad, because I think it's sometimes...
Yeah, you see, my mum would have whip stitched things together. She
Right.
never used mattress stitch. She
Right.
would just always put right sides together and then just go over the edge, whip stitching it together.
It's funny because it's an obvious thing to probably the majority of the people watching, but also maybe it isn't, because I've knit for a long time and I've never needed to do whip stitch. What do you do on the underarms of a garment?
You would graft it. Well, it depends really. I mean, it depends how many stitches you've got under the arm. Sometimes you've got loads, haven't you?
Yeah.
And in that case, I would... Well, sometimes they've been they've been held, haven't they?
Right.
So you would graft them with Kitchener.
So you still wouldn't be whip stitching?
I wouldn't whip stitch under the arms, no, because it would leave quite a ridge, wouldn't it? And under the arms you might feel that. So I would either...
Wouldn't it, she says. I've got no idea.
You see, mattress stitch would also leave a bit of a ridge, wouldn't it?
Right.
I think ideally you would have had those stitches top and bottom on hold.
Yeah.
And then you would Kitchener them, and then you wouldn't get any seam at all.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, none of that matters.
No.
Because all I'm interested in is the fact that I've got 1.
He's got 1 point, everybody. I think the next question you might be able to answer straight off.
Oh... Okay.
You ready?
Go on then.
Ready?
Let's have it then.
Question 2. Let's have it.
Let's have it.
What does English knitting mean? If you are an English knitter, how do you knit? Basically, is what that means.
I need the answers.
Okay.
So
I can't describe it any clearer, can I, without actually giving him the answer?
No.
So right, okay. Is it A, knitting with yarn in the right hand?
I would never have got that right. Carry on.
Is it B, knitting with yarn in your lap? Is it C, knitting with yarn on the floor? Or is it D, knitting with yarn in a machine?
I would never have got that right.
Why?
Because I did not know that.
How can you not know that? We've talked regularly about this subject. In fact, I think we just spoke yesterday about this subject.
Yes.
I referenced it.
Look, all I know is the other way is different.
But you know what the other way is called, don't you?
Yes, but I don't know where
the most popular other way.
I didn't know they held it in a different hand.
You didn't?
I didn't.
How can you not know these things? I witter on about stuff like this.
Yes, but
all the time.
You never witter on about, oh, that's silly holding it in the left hand.
I don't say it's silly.
No, I know that. I'm just saying. No, she doesn't say that. I'm just saying,
I often try to knit
my point,
with the yarn in my left hand, and I just cannot do it.
The point I was trying to make was, she doesn't say it's in the left hand and it's crazy.
Well, no, I don't say that because I'm always trying to do it. Every now and again I'm like, do you know what, I'm going to try that again. No, can't do it.
But if you had said that, I would know the difference.
Right, okay.
So
what's the answer?
The answer is, of course, A.
So it's knitting with yarn in the right hand.
Yes.
Yes? Yeah. Thank goodness we got there.
We did get there.
Yes. English knitters throw the yarn with their right hands like we do. Continental knitters have the yarn in their left hand, and they you pick it, don't you, with your needle. I can't do it. I've tried so many times, and it's like I'm trying to knit left-handed.
It doesn't matter though, does it?
Well, no, it doesn't matter.
Again.
Well done.
None of this matters. Because I have 2.
2 out of 2.
And I didn't need to go for it without hearing the question. Answer.
Yeah, the third one, I don't think you're going to be able to answer this one without.
Okay.
Question 3. What is the term used to describe symmetric loops as seen in knitted fabric? So, think of like the back of stocking stitch knitting. If you looked at it, it goes like that, doesn't it?
I don't know.
Have we got any knitting?
I know what you mean.
Have we got any knitting?
I know what you mean, but I don't know the answer.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes, so please.
So you all know what we mean. It goes like that, doesn't it?
Please.
All those loops, the symmetric loops. Is it A, mites, spelt M-I-G-H-T-S? Is it B, bites, spelt B-I-G-H-T-S? Is it lights, as in lights? Or is it D, fights, as in fights?
So mites.
So mites, bites, lights, or fights. I feel a lifeline coming upon us.
Well, it makes an awful lot of sense, does it not? My question is, so mites...
Mites, bites...
I don't think it's bites.
Lights, fights.
I think it's either mites or fights. Oh, he's pushed the button. And the lifeline I'm going to use... Oh, I'm not doing 50-50.
You're not doing 50-50?
No.
Okay.
Oh, I see.
I'd go 50-50.
50-50 it is.
I don't want to persuade you.
No, you didn't persuade me.
All right.
50-50 it is.
Right. He's going 50-50.
Yes.
I'm going to take away... That was me taking away 2 wrong answers from my piece of paper. And it leaves me with B, bites,
Yeah.
and D, fights.
Okay. So I'm going to go D, fights.
You're going to go D, fights.
Yes.
Is it correct? No. He is not.
That's okay. That's okay. You got one wrong.
I did.
I used a lifeline.
It's B, bites. Don't ask me why. I don't know why.
Move on.
Okay. Swiftly moving on. Oh, photo.
Photo question.
Photo question.
Ooh, very exciting. This is where Kay goes high-tech.
I go high-tech.
And make sure you don't give anything away.
I managed to save a photo to my photo stream, which in itself is a huge achievement.
It is indeed.
Now, can I find it? The origins of this sheep are subject to debate, but many believe it to be Spain. It's regarded as having some of the finest wool of any sheep. What breed is it? Look at him.
I don't know.
You don't know what that sheep... It's very full.
It does look...
Full-wooled sheep, isn't it?
It definitely looks familiar.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Are you ready then for the answers?
Yes.
Is it A, Polworth?
No.
Is it B, Rambouillet?
Maybe.
Is it C, Merino?
Oh, possibly.
Or is it D, Corriedale?
It's definitely not D.
Okay.
Well, it's got to be either Rambouillet or Merino.
Okay.
You see, I'm running scared now.
I'd love to feel his wool.
Oh, tricky. Oh, pushing the button again.
Oh my goodness.
Look, I can't risk it.
Okay.
So
you're going to ask Instagram.
I'm going to
you?
ask Instagram.
Okay, Instagram won't let you down.
No.
You're very knowledgeable in sheep.
So what we always do when we ask Instagram is we post a picture to our Instagram feed.
Yeah.
We ask the audience, and then we come back to it later on in the show, and I can either choose to go with an answer from the audience, or I can choose to ignore them completely and go with an answer of my own. Because I sort of sway. Rambouillet sounds French. So that then makes you think Merino, but does Merino come from Spain? But then maybe if it's argued over.
Well, just because the origins are there doesn't mean that's mainly where you'd find it now, though, does it?
No. Okay, I've asked the audience, and we'll come back to that question later on in the show.
Excellent. So, are we ready for question 5?
Yes.
Okay. Orenburg shawls are traditionally knit using a blend of silk and goat fibre, similar to cashmere or mohair. The shawls are finely knit and usually of geometric lace designs. What country do they originate from? Orenburg, Orenburg. Do you know?
I think so.
How do you know?
Oh no. This is awful. Because something's clanging the most enormous bell in my head. And...
Do you know out there?
You know...
They're gorgeous shawls. Have you ever seen them? They're beautiful.
Okay then.
And if you think...
What question's this?
5.
Oh no.
And if you think you know, then why do you say oh no?
Okay.
Are you going to go for it?
Yes.
Oh, he's going to go for it.
I say Russia.
Okay. Russia.
Yeah.
Final answer.
Yeah.
Do you think he's right? You're going to have to wait to find out until we come back.
That's not fair. I can't believe it, folks. Later on in the show, we will find out. We'll find out if I'm right with Russia with question 5. But for now, thank you so much for watching this first part of Knit or Forfeit, and we'll see you later on in the show where we will find out who will be the champion of 2020. absolute meanie. I don't believe it. We're going to have to wait.
What do you think?
Talk about tension. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't know if I feel confident or not, but I do think it's Russia. But we shall find out later. And what about that sheep? I hope Instagram knows the answer.
Oh, Instagram will know the answer.
I hope so. My goodness. I mean, it's very distinctive looking, and it did seem to ring a bell to me, but you slinging in the Rambouillet there.
Rambouillet.
Yeah. It sounds like a variation on the game of boule.
Just a bit, yeah.
Yes. That's one of my sort of lasting memories of holidays when I was young. It always tended to be old Frenchmen playing boule.
I'd love to have a go. I like games like that.
Yeah.
Because you have to throw a... Do you throw a ball?
Throw a jack.
Yeah.
A wooden jack.
What's the other thing where you throw a hoop and you have to get it over a thing?
Quoits.
Quoits.
Yes.
That's really fun, isn't it?
That's in like a sand pit.
Yeah.
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 And
play it on the beach kind of thing, don't you?
Well, I think it was very popular in the north of England in sort of pubs and working men's clubs. Okay. Whereas down south, which is so cool.
You have Skittles.
I just remember that. I mean, how cool was that?
Skittles down south.
Did you recall? Do you recall going and playing Skittles?
Did we?
In the Shirton Inn in my mum's.
Oh right, maybe that's what I'm remembering.
I mean, when
I'd love that because I love bowling. I can't bowl anymore with my dodgy shoulder. They had their own. But I could do Skittles.
They had their own.
Like
alley.
A Skittle alley.
Yeah, and it was
fun as that.
But I know that there's other pubs where part of the Skittle alley is actually in the pub.
Right.
So you're like standing in the pub and you're throwing it like halfway through the pub, and then it goes
out
like into an alley out the door and then down to the Skittles. It was great fun. It was great fun. It was
great fun.
And then of course the more common game, which I never really played a lot of, was darts.
Oh, my dad played darts. He was a brilliant darts player in his day.
Yeah.
He was really good. I remember he always used to go to the pub and play darts.
Hey, and I'm sorry about the whole English knitter thing. I just had no idea. I genuinely...
You didn't know that that's English stuff?
I had no idea. I knew there was a difference between English and continental knitting. But I didn't realise that the difference could be sort of encapsulated quite simply in the fact that we hold our yarn in the right hand and continental knitters... hold the yarn
in the left hand, and it's you sort of pick the yarn, don't you?
I mean, it's funny, isn't it? You learn something new every day. You really do, and it's the joy of being alive, really, because you know there is always something. Even when you think you know a little bit about something, there's always like a whole new vast.
Always something to learn, isn't there?
And that's the joy of Knit or Forfeit.
Yes.
And yes, later on in the show, we will return for, let me tell you, it is an exciting conclusion. I shall say nothing more because right now I'm very excited to ask Kay Jones, what's off your needles?
Well, I have finished something. I'm going to pop these on.
Oh, they're just lovely.
They are.
The pattern is great.
Well, thank you very much.
I love the sort of, they're like little mountains. And you could argue that they were sort of magically snow-peaked mountains because of the colourway you've used.
I suppose you could, yeah. It's a pair of fingerless mitts, and these are my dynamite mitts that I think I was working on last time.
That wasn't a statement.
No, these are what they're called.
Yes.
Yeah, they are dynamite. That's what they're called because they're inspired by BTS and the Dynamite song. So I wanted to... I've knit these before, if you remember. I've knit them in not a stripy yarn, but I striped them using some Cascade Heritage. And I wanted to knit just a plain pair for the pattern so that I could write up the pattern and then put the stripes in as an option, which is what I've done. The pattern is written and it's now with a test knitter for me. But I'm not going to release these ones until the 1st of January. Lovely pattern, you know, brand new year, brand new pattern. So these will be coming out on the 1st of January. So it's these lovely fingerless mitts with this design on the back. And it's just plain on the inside. Isn't this yarn just lovely? They're just a perfect pair of mitts, I think.
Yeah.
And I used Eden Cottage, and it's her Rosedale base, which... Do you know what? I've just ordered some of this yarn to dye on.
Right.
I've just realised looking at the blend.
Right.
I just ordered a little bit of yarn this morning just to do, because I've run out of fingering weight yarn for dyeing.
Right.
So I've just ordered some, and this is one of the bases that I've ordered. How funny. It's 80% superwash superfine merino, 15% nylon and 5% gold stellina.
Right.
How exciting. I'll be getting some of this yarn to dye on. But this colour is Whispering Grass, and it's just this gorgeous cream. Tonal cream, and it's just perfect. Uses about 40 grams of yarn, so perfect for leftovers from socks. You know I quite often knit socks with only 60 grams, so I've got 40 grams left, so it's perfect for that. Really quick and just lovely to knit. So Dynamite mitts, they'll be coming out.
I've never worn anything. Have I worn? No, I wouldn't.
You wouldn't wear anything.
No. I didn't mean fingerless mitts.
Oh, I thought you meant. Well, that's what they're on my hands.
I know. What I was going to ask you was, I don't think I've ever worn anything with stellina in it, have I? No, because
No, I think I've put the odd bit of stellina into scrappy socks of yours.
I just wondered if it feels different to. Right.
You can't feel.
What is stellina?
Effectively it's like a sort of metal, isn't it?
Right.
I'm presuming it's some form of metal, because I know when you actually dye on a stellina yarn, you've got to be really careful, because the acid that you use to fix the dye, it can actually tarnish the stellina.
Gosh.
So when I dye on a stellina base, I don't pre-soak the yarn with acid in it. I just soak it in plain water,
right,
and then I just use acid when I'm actually dyeing it,
right,
because then you've got less chance that you're going to lose that sparkle.
So would it go like just dull or orangey or?
No, it wouldn't go orangey.
Right.
It would just go really dull, and you'd lose that kind of sparkle if it's exposed for too long to the acid, because it eats away at the sort of surface.
I wonder if you were getting on a plane.
Gorgeously sparkly.
If you were getting on a plane, would they set off the?
No.
All right. Okay.
No, I mean, I don't know if the sparkle comes across. It doesn't normally on screen,
no,
but it's full of sparkle.
It is. It absolutely is. I mean, it's just they look magical. It gives it a different sort of air, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And it's funny, isn't it? Because if just by adding that stellina sparkle, it changes the thing. It sort of makes you smile.
Lifts it, And Bryony wants these. I said to her, because she's obviously got the first pair that are striped. She's wearing them today, and I said, I've knit the sort of cream pair for the pattern. I said, should we use them as a present for someone for Christmas? She just looked at me and she went, but they're BTS. I said, yeah, I know, but you've got a pair. And she sort of looked at me. I said, do you want them? So she'll be getting this as another pair.
It's marvellous, actually, to have someone who is so knit-worthy.
Oh, I know. I was looking in a sock drawer the other day. Bryony's sock drawer was putting some socks away, and it's just unbelievable. I must post a photo, actually. Once it's tidied up a bit, I'll post a photo, maybe to Instagram. It's like it's a chest of drawers size drawer, so it's a big drawer, and it's just full of socks, and in fact I have to cram them in. But she wears them all and she loves them all, so I will just carry on. And
you wonder where she's going to be in 30 or 40 years.
Yeah.
Will there come a time where she thinks, actually...
Well, she gets really emotional about things as well, doesn't she? If there was a pair of socks of yours that had a hole in.
Yes.
At the weekend, and you were like, you showed them to me, and you're like, they've got a hole. I said, just get rid of them then, I could darn them. Life's too short. So I'd just get rid of them, I knit socks all the time. And Bryony just looked at me and she went, I like those socks. Can't you sew them? I said, honey, I could sew them, but then the hole will, they'll just reappear. They're old, and, Dad's worn them for a few years and he's worn them a lot.
That's right. I do think that, it depends on how many of these things that you have, but when you have a load of lovely socks, when there's a hole in a slightly tricky place, it was just like, there's no point in trying to fix these, because then it creates a space then for a new pair of socks.
To do another pair. And this is the thing, I've been decluttering the past few days. I've really, really been... I don't know why, I just felt this need to sort of start just decluttering stuff. And sometimes I feel like if you declutter your world around you, then my brain feels less cluttered.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's, it's
Well,
not...
of course it's true.
Yeah, because you just...
Space.
There's space in there. And it's the same thing with knitting, isn't it? I knit a lot of socks, and I love knitting socks. But you get to a saturation point, don't you?
Yeah.
And if you wear them a lot, they're going to wear out.
Yeah.
That just happens. And they're biodegradable. It's wool. I know there's some nylon in there which wouldn't biodegrade, but largely they will.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a problem with doing that, because, like you say, it just creates a space to put something new there.
Yes.
That you will wear, and then they'll wear out. And that's just the way of life, isn't it? That's
It is.
just, you've got to accept that things wear out. And
Yes.
Dan Jones?
Yes.
What's off your needles?
I finished
Wow.
the Sherwood Socks.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, and these were just the most fun. They were marvellous. There's not a thing I didn't love about knitting these socks. From the colourway, which is the Merino Yak.
Yeah, the Regia Merino Yak.
Yes, I'm glad that we can say the Merino bit, because that S word is too long. There's an S in it. There's a big long word that begins with an S. S-C-H.
Oh, something. No, okay. It's Regia.
Yes. Kay designed these for me, which was the sweetest thing. It's just the sweetest thing. And it's everything in it is all the things which I love. And they're definitely, you've done a tremendous job, because they are my perfect socks.
They're lovely. I'll take them off and just show
Without
that
any
pattern
shadow of a doubt.
And these will be a patron pattern in March next year.
2021.
So, and I've not had to knit the socks. This is the first time.
These will be a platinum pattern.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes, they're a platinum pattern.
Platinum pattern.
In 2021.
Yes, March, spring next year. So this is the pattern that runs down the front of the sock. Oh, it's lovely, isn't it? So pretty.
And
love it.
Speaking of Robin Hood, we had some fun this morning, because I started quoting the lyrics to Everything I Do it for You. And then as Kay walked down the stairs, I started playing it, didn't I? On
And
my
Bryony's
phone.
like, what's going on?
She's just laughing her
I
head
said,
off.
her dad's being romantic. She went, huh? She's just got to that phase where she really hates anything like that, doesn't she? She's like, oh no, I'm not interested in all that.
Don't need to see that.
Don't need to see that, Mum and Dad.
Now, the things that I enjoyed about this sock, I loved the back, that's like the arrows, isn't it? That was just so much fun. That's the most fun I've had on any sort of needles 3 and 4. Or your second needle, if you're knitting magic loop.
Yes.
But then on the first 2 needles, this was just tremendous, because it reminded me so much of the Whispers in the Wall socks, which I adored knitting.
Which is what I based it on. You wanted that same kind of template, didn't you? So,
but I enjoyed it a lot more, and the reason why I enjoyed it a lot more was the cables were great fun, but it was the lace in the middle. The lace in the middle.
It's a pretty one.
It's just, as Kay showed you just a second ago,
it's really pretty.
Great fun to knit, and I think the reason why I sort of like the look of it so much is it's the way it sort of starts and finishes. It's like it's bordering it.
Yes.
It's like it's framed.
Yeah.
Beautifully framed. So, perfect project. And this has been replaced in that project bag by the fairy wings. And I'm really hoping, I actually think that, with the greatest respect to that yarn, the yarn I'm knitting now is so much nicer.
That's an 80-20 base, I think. Yeah.
It's the richness of the colourway there.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot to be said, I think, don't get me wrong, this is marvellous, and such a widely usable
it's brilliant.
base and colourway and everything.
It is brilliant. But
then to contrast it with a lovely, rich, gorgeous.
I'm really in a phase of loving tonal hand-dyed yarns at the minute, and hence the yellow one, why I wanted to knit with that. And I've been searching for a red tonal yarn, like a lovely Christmas red, and I just can't find one anywhere. So I am. That's why I ordered a bit of fingering weight yarn this morning, because I thought, oh well, maybe I should just dye it myself, because I know the sort of red that I want. And in fact, I bought something actually that's got a shade of red in it that is the sort of shade I want. But I've looked all over and I just can't seem to find a tonal red that is what's in my head, so I'll probably end up dyeing some.
So, folks, that was the gorgeous Sherwood Socks that will be released next March as our second platinum pattern of 2021.
Yes.
But that is enough, what's on your needles, because I'm desperate
What's off
your needles, because I'm desperate to find out, am I right with Orenburg shawl?
I'm going to keep my crown.
Is she going to keep her crown? You're going to find out in the next 15 minutes as we return for the exciting conclusion to Knit or Forfeit. Welcome back to Knit or Forfeit. Oh my goodness. This is the tensest I've ever been in between a first and a second half.
Really?
Yes. I'm desperate to find out.
Is he going to get those 2 points?
The first of the two.
So let's remind ourselves of the question, and then I will give you the possible answers.
Okay.
Orenburg shawls are traditionally knit using a blend of silk and goat fibre, similar to cashmere or mohair. The shawls are finely knit and usually of geometric lace designs. Which country do they originate from?
I don't know if it's hubris, but I'm feeling more confident by the minute.
Dan said Russia, so let's hear the possible answers.
I'm worried there was something else going to come.
Is it A, Russia, B, Germany, C, Turkey, or D, Ukraine?
Oh no.
Oh.
What's the answer?
The answer is A, Russia. Your geography is very good. They're named after the region they come from. It's a region in Russia. But it is very close to Ukraine.
Yes, and that is exactly the reason why I was worried.
Mm-hmm.
And I need to give thanks to somebody.
Oh.
Because the reason why I know the answer
it's
to
the Russian lady.
Is Nutella Datura Designs, who we interviewed in our magazine Knitability, and one of the questions that we asked her ended up with an answer which involved, I think it was her grandma who used to knit Orenburg shawls.
I didn't remember that.
Yes, so thank you, Nutella.
Oh.
Please continue, caller, with question number 6.
6.
Oh, last of the knitted questions.
Sheep are believed to have been domesticated for their wool for how long?
Oh, it's a long time.
That's not good enough saying it's a long time.
Yeah. My answer is a long time.
A long time. Is it? Oh, no, sorry. Do you want to guess?
Calm down.
How long have sheep been domesticated for their wool? Approximately. Obviously, we don't know exactly.
Yeah, exactly. But I there's no way.
It's a round number.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. So here are the possible answers. Is it A, 900 years? Is it B, 2,500 years? Is it C, 9,000 years? Or is it D, 25,000 years?
Oh, it's tricky. I mean, because it's a much longer period of time than anyone would ever guess. And, it's the type of thing... I mean, you've probably thrown in... It's not 25,000 years.
That's a long time ago, isn't it, that?
It just is not 25,000 years. And it's not 900 years.
So you've narrowed it down to either...
2,500 years...
2.5 or 9,000.
...is not long enough.
Who was around 2,500 years ago? What sort of people were around? 2,500
well,
years ago.
you're slap banging the Roman and the Greek...
500 BC, isn't it?
You're slap banging the Roman period and towards the end of the Greeks.
Right.
So actually, they had wool.
Right.
So I'm going to go C.
C.
Yes.
9,000 years.
That is my final answer.
Final answer. What do you think? Is he right? Last knitting question. He's right! Yay! 9,000 years. 9,000 years ago.
Amazing. Time for the Christmas question.
Well done. We're moving on to Christmas, which is always a nice thing to do.
Yes.
So, question 7.
Yes.
No, I did say that right. Which country gives the gift of a huge Christmas tree to the UK every year, which is then displayed in Trafalgar Square?
Oh, I thought you were going to say the USA.
How can it be displayed in the USA if it's given to the UK?
No. I thought the question was going to be which country gives a Christmas tree to the USA.
Oh, right,
year.
okay. No, to the UK. You know, the big tree that's in Trafalgar Square every year.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I could hazard a guess. Because it's going to be one of the countries which has lovely big trees in it. So either Scandinavian or Germany.
Right.
So I'm going to need the answers.
Okay.
But that's okay.
Okay. So is it A, Norway? Is it B, Denmark? Is it C, Sweden? Or is it D, Finland?
Oh, wow. So Germany's not even in there. See, I'm tempted to go with Norway.
I always want to say Norvège. Is it Norvège for the Eurovision?
Yes. Because I'm thinking Nordic spruce. But I'm not certain what type of tree it is. So, I mean, it's basically all the Scandinavian countries you've thrown in there. I don't think it's Finland.
Right.
I don't think it's Sweden. So I'm left with Norway and
Denmark.
I don't think it's Denmark. Tricky.
Anyone know any Londoners out there who know?
I think... Oh, crumbs. You see, I'm going to go Norway.
Norway.
Yes.
You sure?
Yes.
Is it A, Norway? Does that lovely big tree come from Norway?
He's locked it in.
Yes, it does! Yay!
Come on!
It's been a tradition. Would you like to know how long for?
I'd love to know.
And why?
Yes.
Since 1942.
Wow. Pardon the wind.
Did you hear that? And it was a token of gratitude for British support during World War II.
Ah, that's lovely. Come on.
And
I
let's
like it.
keep our fingers crossed it happens this year.
Yes.
Beautiful tree.
Yes.
Okay, well done. You're doing really well.
Well, come on.
Okay, question 8.
Yes.
What Christmas carol does the Peanuts gang sing at the end of a Charlie Brown's Christmas? I know there's thousands of people shouting this.
I think we might have watched it once.
It's a bit of a mean question, isn't it? Because Dan's right. I think we have watched it once.
I mean, I love Charlie Brown, and I watched it when I was a kid.
With the little tree. Is that the one with the tiny little tree that...
I don't recall. I'm afraid. I'm sorry. This is sacrilegious
the
because I know
blanket
it's
around
lovely.
it.
I know it's lovely. It's just, I think it is a...
It's more of an American...
It's not a tradition in this country.
No.
It's not one of those things
Charlie
which...
Brown's not a huge thing in this country. We know of him, don't we? But it's not like...
I really enjoyed the film. I really enjoyed the film.
The film was really good.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
the
it's
film was
lovely
really good.
animation. I love everything about it. It's just not traditional. Similar to... Is it The Christmas Story? The one where the kid gets his tongue stuck on
We did watch that, didn't we? And
We just didn't really get it.
Didn't.
I think it
didn't
picks
do
up
it
on an
for
awful
me.
lot of... You know, it's very specific to the audience, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer.
You don't know the answer.
So I'm going to need to hear the answers.
Okay. Is it A, O Holy Night? Is it B, Hark the Herald Angels Sing? Is it C, Silent Night? Or is it D, Away in a Manger?
I think it's B.
You think it's B? You have to sing the answer.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to the newborn King.
Oh, I do love it.
Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled. I might be able to go further.
Joyful something. Joyful.
It's joyful something else.
Okay, so is that what you're saying then? So
Yes.
You just sang the whole thing. Hark the herald angels sing. Is Dan correct?
I can now hear them doing it.
Yeah, I can. Oh, I shouldn't say anything, should I?
Well, I've locked it in already.
Okay, it's locked it in.
We've only seen it once.
Is Dan right? Are you all jumping up and down? Yes, you are! Because he's right. Well done!
That just shows you
That's amazing.
how iconic that Christmas
you could,
Charlie Brown is.
Once you've got the answers, you can plug them into it and think, was that right?
Absolutely.
Right?
I could hear the dude on the piano. He's cool.
Well done. Question 9. We're almost there. We're almost there.
Well, we're almost there, but I've got to go for one of these.
Okay. Well.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, you might be able to. Okay, so question 9. Which country is thought to have started the tradition of the Advent candle?
Wow, this is interesting stuff.
This is an Advent candle, the one that you light every day and burn down a little bit.
I have no idea.
So which country is thought to have started the tradition of the Advent candle? Is it A, England? Is it B, USA? Is it C, Netherlands? Or is it D, Germany?
Well, it's a tricky situation. I've used 2 lifelines. If I use another lifeline and tie with you, I'm done for. So I'm.
You do have the knowledge of this.
You have the knowledge.
I'll just say that to you.
I think I know the answer.
Oh, okay. What do you think the answer is?
Germany.
Why do you think it's Germany?
With the whole... The Germans do Christmas very well. The whole Christmas market thing.
Yeah.
I've been to a German Christmas market once and it was tremendous. Yes, it was in Manchester. I was there doing...
I thought you meant in Germany.
No.
I went to a German Christmas market and it was in Manchester.
Yes. And it was great. It was really great.
Because they will have all come over from Germany.
Yes, it was. They were all German people.
Yeah, I'd love to.
And they were touring around the country. So I don't want to use a lifeline.
Okay.
Because I just feel like I'm cruising for a losing. Okay.
So you're saying...
Germany.
Germany.
Yes.
Is he right? Question 9. Yes!
How do I have the knowledge?
Because I shall tell you, it comes from the tradition of the Christingle.
Ah, there you go.
And Bryony used to do this in primary school. We used to have a Christingle service every year in church, and it was lovely. Yeah. And a Christingle was made out of half an orange with a candle in the top, and it represents the world.
Yes.
And the candle is Jesus as the light of the world.
That's lovely.
And then from that, the Advent candle sort of...
Beautiful.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a photo!
Oh.
This traditional festive drink, historically known as milk punch, originated in which country? You all know what it is, obviously. I've never had it.
That's eggnog.
Yes. Do you have a gut sort of instinct?
Honestly, my gut would have been Germany, but I can't believe it is because we've just had a question with Germany that's the answer, but that could be the ultimate swindle. I've just got to go for it. So I'm going to say Germany.
Final answer?
Yes.
Right, okay, so Dan said Germany
without
hearing the answers, so I will now give you the answers. Is it A, England, B, Ireland, C, USA, or D, Canada?
Oh no. I think it's England now. Give us, what's the answer?
It's England.
Oh! Is he derived from wassail?
No.
Right.
Wassail is like beer. It's just like a beery sort of substance, isn't it? Or mead, I think it probably was at the time. No, it doesn't. It originates from this drink known as a milk punch. That's why I didn't, milk punch, that's not a German thing, is it?
But that could have just been the English.
Well, I suppose it could have. But I would
translation.
It could have, yeah.
Because it's not a very inventive name, is it? Milk punch.
The first known use of the word, so it was known as milk punch, and then the first known use of the word nog was in 1639, and then eggnog is a term that was used in
1639.
Yes, and then eggnog is a term that was used in America from about 1765.
Amazing.
And that's really now how it's
right.
Because it's really more popular. We don't have this really.
So eggnog is English.
Originally it was English.
Amazing. I haven't won.
Right.
But we do need to go
back to Instagram.
And we need to see
question
what I'm going to finish on.
4.
Oh, look. I'm trusting. Yeah, I mean it's.
Someone said I found the original photo.
So what was the question?
So So basically, what's that sheep?
Okay, excellent question. Well done, well put together. Yes.
The sheep, it had its origins thought to be in Spain, although not certain, and it's regarded as having some of the finest wool of any sheep. What is it?
I say merino.
Is he right? Yes, of course, it's a lovely, squishy, soft merino.
So what did I finish on?
9. Oh, no. Oh, look, I'll give you a little hug. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness, there's the music. What a wonderful competition it's been.
Keep my crown.
An absolute worthy winner and a really great competition. You know, it's been just the business. It kicks my Christmas off.
Fun.
It really does.
Did you all join in?
It's been great fun. And ladies and gentlemen, this is now Knit or Forfeit month. So fear not, for those of you who enjoyed the show, we'll see you next November when you can tune in to find out who will be the champion of 2021. But for now, thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, everybody.
And we will see you soon for more Knit or Forfeit. What a round. I have no complaints. 'Twas a battle royale.
Oh, it's a bit sad.
And to finish,
I kind of wanted you to win.
10-9.
10-9.
I mean, it could not have been any closer than that.
No, you did
If
a
I
brilliant
just
job. You did a brilliant job.
Do you know what? I just could not wrap my brain around eggnog being from anywhere else. I think because you led me, it was clever questioning because you sort of planted the seed of, you know, gorgeous German Christmas markets with like lovely, they've always got amazing sausages and, you know, the lovely gingerbread.
Well, it's Glühwein, isn't it? That's
right.
That's very, which is like mulled winey sort of thing, isn't it? That's the traditional German.
You can just
thing.
imagine, you know, you're walking through the gorgeous German Christmas market and you've got, you know, an eggnog in your hand.
Yeah.
It just feels German, which is the reason why I just had to go for it because I needed to go for another one to get to, and I was maybe silly to have left it, but I wasn't silly to have left it because there was no other point where I thought I can go for this and get to.
Could have risked it, yeah.
So, worthy winner, the champion
Got
for
to
the
keep
second
my
year
crown. I feel like I should make you one though for Christmas. I was thinking that I was going to make 2 more of those because it's a knitted one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was going to make 2 more and make some Christmas crackers, just 3 of them. Because you can make them, I think, quite easily. You can buy the crackery things, you know, the snap things, and put them in, you know, so that we have a real hat inside the cracker. Because you and Bryony never can get the hats to fit you.
I can perch it on my head. Neil, the gold edition of that round of Knit or Forfeit, along with every episode of Knit or Forfeit that we've produced in the last 3 seasons, is available to watch and it's linked in the show notes below. So they're the special, slightly longer editions, and it's got all our links to like all the sort of information about all the questions that we've asked. So if you want to read about the history of eggnog, go and I mean, wow. It was quite a long thing that I found, which is quite cool. You can go and follow the link in the gold edition.
Long history.
It really does. It really does.
Still don't want to drink it.
And now it's time to really get excited about Christmas, because the next time that we see you, it will be December.
Yes.
And what that means is, finally, it's time for us to enjoy the thing which we've been looking forward to now for months. Yes. Kays Handmade Christmas.
Oh, yes.
That's what's coming in the next episode, our special one-off.
I'm all prepped and ready.
Now, even to the point of, yes, she has a Christmas set for the Advent calendar, but we have a totally different set for Kays Handmade Christmas.
Yes.
We've had many high-powered meetings discussing it.
We have.
We actually have.
We have.
Which is great fun.
Yes.
And it is tremendous. I mean, talk about tremendous when you have an excuse to go out and buy lots of Christmas decorations.
I know, yeah.
To dress a set.
Yeah, I mean,
it
was lovely choosing the things.
It will be a feast for your eyes.
Yes, I think you'll enjoy it.
3 wonderful crafts.
Yeah.
Which could create some rather wonderful presents.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You could clear the decks.
You could.
With your presents if you you get these things done. Yeah.
Don't miss it. It's going to be just such great fun.
Next time.
Christmas begins with Kays Handmade Christmas. Yeah. But now it's time for the Endy Bits.
Endy Bits.
Now.
Oh. Oh,
yes.
Right.
Right.
So I put out a little sort of teaser photo on Instagram about this. You might have seen it already. But starting on the 1st of December, I'm going to be launching a new collection. And it's called the Winter Collection. It's a collection of 3 sock designs. Now, I had a lot of thought went into how I was going to release this collection. As you know, I've done collections in the past where I've released them as an ebook, where you purchase the ebook at the outset, and then each week or however often you will get another pattern dropping into that ebook. And I did think of doing it that way. However, a lot of changes have happened this year, and if I was to do it that way, I can only run that on Ravelry. What I've decided to do this time is I'm just going to release these 3 patterns individually. So there'll be one on the 1st of December, there'll be one on the 11th of December, and then the final one is the 21st of December. So you can purchase all of them if you want to, one at a time, or when you see the pattern, you can just purchase that one if that one takes your fancy. And you don't have to put that outlay out at the beginning. You can just pick and choose from the designs. And then it also means that I can release them on Ravelry and I can release them on Lovecrafts at the same time. And then that way it's
open to everybody.
Open to everyone. So it's called the Winter Collection, but each design does have its own name. And so it's 3 socks. They're all top down. One of them is top down with an afterthought heel, because that's something that a lot of people have asked me for since I released the umbrella socks, which is toe up. They've said, I'd love to do that heel but top down. So one of them has an afterthought heel, and then the other 2 are traditional heel flaps and gusset construction. It's a winter theme. It's not Christmas themed, it's winter themed.
It's a season theme.
Yeah, it's the whole season. And there is a story that runs through as well.
Someone's been doing some writing and it's not me.
I wrote the stories. You did help me.
Yeah.
And then I said...
No, not much.
No, and then I said, look, let me just have a go. Because I got this idea in my head on how I wanted it to feel and the character that was in it, and I just had a go. And I said, look, just read it and tell me if it's rubbish.
And it wasn't.
And Dan said, no, it's not. It's really nice. And they've all been thoroughly test knitted. I've had quite a few test knitters for these 3 pairs of socks. So that will be starting, like I say, on the 1st of December, so it's not long at all. So we thought to go along with that, it's been a while since we had a knit-along, so why don't we have a knit-along? And we're going to call it the Bakery Bears Winter Socks Knit-along. So you can knit any winter socks you want. It doesn't have to be ones from this new collection. It can be anything. Finish off your works in progress, that'll be fine. It doesn't need to be new cast-ons. You can include socks that you've started already. So if you've got a bunch of Christmas socks on the go, they can be included in it. So I will open a thread on Ravelry and I'll put all the details in there of how the knit-along's going to run and what the hashtag that you can use on Instagram when we actually get that started. So I'll open that now so that if you want to just drop into there and chat away and decide, if you're already working on some socks, you can let us know, or what plans you might have, or you can hang on for the 1st of December if you want to and knit along with the winter collection. So I'm really thrilled with all 3 of these designs. I've been working on these designs for quite a few months, probably since early summer, I would say, isn't it? Oh, I'm so excited that we're almost there, because it just feels like such a long time that I've been waiting to release these. And I hope you really love them. I think you will. If you like my patterns and you like sock knitting, you'll love them.
Cool. You bought some yarn.
Oh yes, and I bought a little bit of yarn. So I picked up a couple of skeins in Jane's last update, Hedgerow Yarns, and these ones were so Christmassy. And Jane's speckles are amazing, aren't they? So I've got Nordic Christmas, which is sort of blues and reds. Look at that. Her speckles are just amazing. And then I also got this one, which is Mrs. Kringle. Oh, I love this one. And look, this comes with a red mini. And this is the kind of red that I want. That sort of lovely... It's a proper red. It's not an orange red, you know, and it's not a burgundy red. It's just a really lovely Christmas red. And again, the speckles are just gorgeous, aren't they?
Yeah.
So I might have to get these on the needles. These would make great crunkled socks, I think.
Yes.
They'd be lovely. So maybe I'll try and get those on the needles for the winter sock cowl. That would be perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And then I picked up some minis from Kelly in our last update, from Kelly Lay Family Yarns. It's a bit crinkly. I'll try not to crinkle. I'll turn it the other way because you can see them. Oh, look at these. These are for my blankets. Gorgeous pinks. And then this little set, which is adorable. It's 7 10-gram minis called a Snuggle Bundle. And I just love these colours again. Really lovely. So presents for my blankets, because why not? Gorgeous.
The next P.O.P Live, which is our final live show of the year,
Yes.
will be next Sunday, the 29th of November at 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
Right.
So it's a big show because it is our final live show of the year before the Advent Calendar launches 2 days after.
And do you know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'll show you on that the first design of the winter collection.
Because it'll launch 2 days
Because
after.
it'll launch a couple of days after, so you will all get a sneak peek of the first design.
So that show is available to watch live at 2 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, but then the recording of the show is then available for you to watch anytime at 3:10 and after that. You know, it goes live at 3:10, the recording, and then you can
it's just
watch
there.
it whenever you want. Don't miss our final P.O.P Live of the year. It's probably our favourite P.O.P Live of the year because there's just so much sort of excitement, you know, leading into the beginning of the Advent Calendar, which is just 2 days
And it will
after.
just been Thanksgiving, I think, in America, won't it?
Yeah, on the Thursday before
On the
that.
Thursday before,
Yes. Now, speaking of the Advent Calendar, of course, then, the Advent Calendar commences then on the 1st of December. It runs right the way through till the 24th. There's a video every day. So there'll be adventures with me, but then also the mystery Christmas knit-along with Kay.
Oh,
so there is a lot.
So much going on, man.
There's a lot going on.
Brain's so full of festive goodness.
Yes. And then in 2 weeks, we will be back with our next Bakery Bears video show, which will have within it that wonderful Christmas special.
Yes.
That will be Kays Handmade Christmas. So, folks, I hope we've got you successfully
I hope so.
excited.
You're all going off to drink eggnog now, aren't you?
And now you know the history of it.
And now you know this drink.
Now you know it's milk punch from England.
Milk punch.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know that Orenburg shawls are not from the Ukraine, which is what I panicked when I heard her say Ukraine, because that was honestly is what I thought. I'm thinking it's either Russia or Ukraine, and that's why for a moment I considered not going for it.
Right.
Or I'm then thinking, do I say Ukraine? Is it Ukraine? That's enough, though. That's enough waffle from us. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
It's been wonderful to see you.
Yes.
And we will see you in 2 weeks when it will be December.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Sitting and knitting, standing Kay the bakery bears. Enthusiasm's not quitting, standing Kay the bakery bears. They'll take you to fabulous places of which their favorites they'll share. You better buy a pattern, get yourself a bakery bear. You'll find yourself in a castle watching the bakery bears. It never feels like a hassle to sit and watch the bakery bears. What's on your shelf or what's in